In the depths of our modern existence, surrounded by the constant hum of notifications, the perpetual rush toward achievements, and the endless accumulation of possessions, we find ourselves paradoxically empty. This emptiness, however, is not the void we fear. It is the sacred space from which all authentic transformation emerges. The path of emptiness, as understood through ancient wisdom and contemporary insight, reveals itself not as deprivation, but as the ultimate gateway to genuine fulfillment. When Lao Tzu spoke of the 1,000-mile journey beginning with a single step, he illuminated a profound truth about human nature and the process of authentic growth. That first step is not merely physical movement. It represents the courageous act of turning inward, of embracing the unknown territory of our own consciousness. It is the moment we choose to stop running from the silence within and instead lean into it with curiosity and reverence. The concept of emptiness in Eastern philosophy, particularly in Buddhism and Taoism, challenges our Western understanding of fullness and success. We have been conditioned to believe that happiness comes from filling every moment, every space, every silence with something tangible, measurable, and impressive to others. Yet this relentless pursuit of fullness often leaves us spiritually bankrupt, emotionally exhausted, and fundamentally disconnected from our authentic selves. True emptiness is not the absence of everything, it is the presence of infinite possibility. When we clear away the mental clutter, the emotional baggage, and the societal expectations that have accumulated like dust on the mirror of our consciousness, we begin to see clearly. This clarity is not passive observation, but active awareness, a dynamic state of being that allows us to respond to life from a place of wisdom rather than react from a place of conditioning. The journey toward this understanding requires us to confront one of the most challenging aspects of human existence, the ego's desperate need to be somebody. From childhood, we are taught to define ourselves through external markers, our achievements, our relationships, our possessions, our roles in society. While these elements certainly contribute to our experience, they are not the essence of who we are. The path of emptiness invites us to gradually release our attachment to these temporary identities and discover the unchanging awareness that observes all experiences without being diminished by them. This process of letting go is perhaps the most misunderstood aspect of spiritual growth. Many people fear that embracing emptiness means becoming passive, disengaged, or nihilistic. Nothing could be further from the truth. When we operate from a place of inner emptiness, free from the compulsive need to prove ourselves or control outcomes, we become more creative, more compassionate, and more effective in our actions. We move through the world with the grace of water, which appears soft and yielding, yet can carve through the hardest stone over time. The ancient Greek philosopher Socrates embodied this principle when he declared that his wisdom came from knowing that he knew nothing. This wasn't false humility or intellectual defeat. It was the recognition that true knowledge begins with intellectual humility. When we empty ourselves of preconceived notions, rigid beliefs, and the need to be right, we create space for genuine learning and growth. We become like empty vessels, capable of receiving new insights, deeper truths, and more nuanced perspectives. In our personal relationships, this emptiness manifests as presence. When we are not constantly thinking about what we want to say next, how we want to be perceived, or what we hope to gain from the interaction, we can truly listen. We can offer the gift of our complete attention, which is perhaps the most precious thing we can give another human being. This quality of presence transforms ordinary conversations into meaningful connections and routine encounters into opportunities for mutual understanding and growth. The path of emptiness also transforms our relationship with suffering. Rather than trying to escape or avoid difficult emotions, we learn to create space for them. We discover that pain, when met with awareness and acceptance, has its own intelligence and purpose. Grief teaches us about the depth of our capacity to love. Anger reveals our values and boundaries. Fear shows us what matters most to us. When we stop fighting these emotions and instead create an empty space within ourselves, where they can be felt fully and then released naturally, we develop emotional resilience and wisdom. This approach to life requires tremendous courage because it asks us to give up our illusions of control. We must acknowledge that despite our best efforts and careful planning, life will unfold according to its own mysterious logic. Natural disasters will occur, loved ones will leave or die, economic systems will fluctuate, and our bodies will age and eventually fail. The path of emptiness doesn't promise to shield us from these realities. Instead, it offers us a way to meet them with grace, dignity, and inner peace. The practice of meditation, in its various forms, serves as a practical gateway to experiencing this emptiness. Whether through mindfulness meditation, contemplative prayer, or simple moments of quiet reflection, we learn to observe the constant stream of thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them. We begin to recognize that we are not our thoughts any more than we are the weather patterns that pass through the sky. We are the awareness in which all experiences arise and dissolve. This recognition brings with it a profound sense of freedom. When we realize that our essential nature is this open, aware space, we stop taking our temporary experiences so personally. The promotion we didn't get, the relationship that ended, the mistake we made last week. These events lose their power to define us or determine our worth. They become simply experiences arising in consciousness, no different from clouds appearing in the sky or waves forming on the ocean's surface. The emptiness we discover is not cold or lonely. It is warm, alive, and intimately connected to everything that exists. It is the space in which love can flourish without conditions, creativity can flow without forcing, and wisdom can emerge without striving. From this place of inner fullness disguised as emptiness, we can engage with the world more authentically and effectively than ever before. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, nor does it occur in a linear fashion. Like the ancient Chinese concept of wu wei, or effortless action, the path of emptiness unfolds naturally when we stop forcing it and simply allow it to reveal itself. Some days we feel spacious and centered. Other days we find ourselves caught up in old patterns of thinking and behaving. Both experiences are part of the journey, and both offer opportunities for learning and growth. The paradox of emptiness extends to our relationship with time itself. When we are constantly rushing toward future goals or ruminating about past events, we miss the only moment in which life actually occurs, the present. The path of emptiness teaches us to find completeness in each moment, not because that moment contains everything we think we need, but because it contains everything that actually is. This shift in perspective transforms waiting from suffering into peaceful presence and ordinary activities into opportunities for mindfulness and gratitude. As we continue on this path, we begin to see that the emptiness we cultivate within ourselves is reflected in the world around us. The spaces between words make language possible. The silence between notes creates music. The emptiness within atoms allows matter to exist. The pause between breaths sustains life. Emptiness is not the opposite of fullness. It is the foundation upon which all fullness rests. This understanding brings us to a profound realization about the nature of happiness and fulfillment. We discover that these states of being are not dependent on external circumstances, but arise naturally from our alignment with this deeper truth about existence. When we stop seeking happiness in things, people, and achievements, and instead rest in the aware emptiness of our true nature, happiness reveals itself as our natural state, temporarily obscured but never actually lost. The path of emptiness ultimately leads us to recognize that the journey and the destination are one and the same. Each step we take is complete in itself, not because it brings us closer to some future goal, but because it is taken from a place of presence and awareness. The 1,000-mile journey that Lao Tzu described is not about reaching a distant destination. It's about awakening to the miracle of each step, the wonder of each breath, and the infinite possibility contained within each moment of empty, aware presence. In embracing this path, we don't become less human, we become more fully human. We don't lose our individuality. We discover our true individuality beneath the layers of conditioning and social programming. We don't become passive, we become responsive to life's deeper currents. We don't lose our capacity for joy. We find that joy arises spontaneously when we stop demanding that life conform to our expectations and instead open ourselves to its infinite creativity and wisdom. The path of emptiness is not a path of withdrawal from the world, but of deeper engagement with it. It is not about becoming nothing, but about recognizing the no-thingness that is our essential nature, the pure awareness in which all experiences arise and pass away. From this recognition comes compassion for all beings who suffer from the illusion of separation, wisdom to navigate life's complexities with grace, and the courage to live authentically in a world that often rewards conformity over truth. As you take your own first step on this 1,000-mile journey, remember that the path itself is the teacher. Each moment is the classroom, and your own direct experience is the ultimate authority. Trust in the process, be patient with yourself, and remain open to the transformative power of emptiness, the sacred void from which all authentic fullness emerges.